Hi, welcome back to the Mom and Co podcast. My name is Bopa and I am your host. In episode 1, we went back to 20 years ago. 20 years ago when Sully had asked me to marry him. In this episode, we're going to go into a different question. A question that shook me and that I never even thought about, to be honest with you. He asked me, what would I do without him? He asked me this 3 years ago, around this time. We went to my friend's 40th birthday in Tulum, Mexico, where I got to meet all of her friends that she met in Dallas, where she currently resides. And we had a wonderful time. And we also went to Cancun, just Sully and I, 2 days before we came home, where we spent alone time. Alone time is something Sully and I don't get often. Being parents to 4 kids and having my mom live here with us and both come from a large family, we don't get a lot of alone time. So I really cherish that he carved that time and planned it for us to really reconnect. And during this time, Sully was also not drinking. So he had probably stopped drinking for a few months or maybe a year already by then. And so I think he started to see things a lot more clear. And as he began to see things more clear, he really asked me some hard questions I was not ready for. So what would I do without him? Gosh, I didn't even know what he was talking about. But I kind of did. Because there was this feeling inside of myself that I knew the way he said it to me was in a way that I've seen before, but in previous times in our marriage, I would feel like so small. Like, oh my gosh, I did something, like almost like a little kid. This time, I didn't go that route. I instead phoned my niece that is only 1 year younger than me, and I texted her and I said, Sully asked me what I would do without him. I don't know what he means by this, but it's scaring me. I don't know if he's going to leave me or he's going to hurt himself. And she said, why don't you just ask him? And so I came back into the room because it happened in here. And he was folding our laundry. And I said, what do you mean by what would I do without you? And he looked at me and said, whatever the F you think, Pai. And Pai is my nickname, meaning tender. And all I could think about was like, oh gosh, he just called me by my nickname, and I am pretty tender. And this question is so hard, but I'm not going to cry. Normally I would have cried. I would have sat there and begged and asked questions and whatnot. Instead, I decided to just walk out of the room, and I went into the kitchen, and I remember asking myself, what is wrong with me? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I procrastinate? Why do I spend a lot? Why am I scared of a lot of things? And it made me kind of look around my house and think back to the last time I had a vision. And I remember thinking, okay, I mean, I love our home. I love everything about it. But I didn't envision this. But I'm here. How did I get here? Who brought me here? And then it hit me like, oh, I'm married to someone that has a vision. And because I'm married to him, I get to reap the benefits of it. But I don't know how we got here. And that was really hard for me to say out loud, because it was like, I've never said it out loud. And so I took myself back to when the last time I had a vision. And the last vision I had was this home that we bought together, him and I, and we moved my parents in, and um, we had our second kid there, third kid, and then our fourth kid. We had her there, but then we ended up coming home to my sister's house because we decided to sell it, and I went to birth early, which I will talk about that in another episode. But that was the last vision that I had. But yet, that was a while ago, and I'm wondering how we got here. And so I just realized that I was living in somebody else's dream, and I am a supporter of this person, which is my husband. Um, and then I thought about, like, gosh, if he leaves me, and I thought about all this flashback just started happening. Like, I had all the kids. It was high risk for all of our kids, and quit my job to be a stay-at-home mom and a caretaker because my dad had a brain aneurysm when I first became a mom, and then I thought about all the businesses that my husband had started, and how I stuck by and I cheered him on. And I thought about all the sacrifices that I also made, although it wasn't like a monetary thing. And I just saw it all kind of like ending right in front of my eyes, because I didn't know what was happening. But I knew that he was tired. And I just let myself understand him too. And I realized that, oh shit, you went through a lot and you have not unpacked your travels. Instead, you carried it with you, but you had your husband help carry the load. And now his load is heavy. And in that moment, I was like, gosh, he can no longer rescue me. I have to find a way. And if he happens to leave me while I figure this out, I can't even get mad. And that's kind of the road I took. And I remember thinking, okay, I need to make a vision board because I can't see this. I can't see where I was going. And I needed to be able to visualize what was going to happen next. And I knew it had to be small steps because I was already living an overwhelming life. And to say it out loud at the time helped me understand that I needed small actions. And so when I did that, it allowed me to create this vision board. And it was really fun because I remember doing a vision board when I was little, and I hadn't done one in a long time. And I had these magazines. I used to be a magazine hoarder. And I think it was called like Simple or Real Simple or something like that. Had all these things, and I was flipping. I was like, oh my God, I need this. Like, I haven't had alone time. And then I saw laundry, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do my own laundry. And because although our kids had taken over their laundry, Sully and I were still having ours together, and it was like never ending. Like, I could never get through it. And then watching him fold our clothes and feeling guilty because he's doing it and I'm over here like, wait a second, you got there before I did. And I hated that feeling because it happened often. So I just went up to Sully and I said, hey, I feel like I need to start doing my own laundry. Would you mind just taking your own laundry? And he's like, yeah, of course, I can do that. And I don't know if it was a sign of independence for me, But in that very moment, I can tell you that I am always up to date on my laundry. It's been 3 years. I feel like that helped save our marriage. Something so small and very untraditional in a way that would actually make you see that you can find independence, because to me it showed that I wasn't carrying everyone's load now. It was just mine, and it was for me to manage. And so that one small thing that I did really helped me a lot. And then as I was flipping through the magazine, it said read more books. And I was like, gosh, when was the last time I read a book? I used to love to read books. So then I was like, I cut that out and put it on the board. And like saving money, I sucked at saving money or even keeping money, making money. Like all those things were so scary. And it was like, okay, it doesn't have to be scary. I just need to face them. So it was all these things that were coming out of this magazine. And then I was like cutting it. And by that time it was full. And I started to realize like, oh, these are all simple things. Like I'm not making a vision board of this grand thing. It was a vision board of the small things that were going to help me build good habits and to actually hear myself. And I remember there was one that was said, Mom on a Mission. And I was like, I'm a mom on a mission. I'm tired of being a broken record, like very tired of it. And so I got very excited. As I'm talking right now, I feel like I went from sadness to like happiness, because it was so like middle schoolish in a way. And then as I reflect back on my life, there was a lot of moments in my life where my life kind of froze. And I will get into that a little bit more. So feeling middle schoolish, high schoolish, it was pretty accurate on how I would describe it, because my life froze in time. And being able to recognize these things about myself and saying it out loud, and now being able to say it in a way where I can reframe it, where I'm not just a procrastinator, I am not just a spender. These were things that I was doing like a coping mechanism of the things that I've went through in life that I did not unpack. And so I'll go into all of that, and I will let you guys know what books saved me and what changed my life, to be able to see what I was going through. And so going back to what I did in taking back my own laundry, just saying yes to uncomfortable things by being truthful and like looking in the mirror and saying, you are doing this, you're doing this, you're not doing this, and meeting myself there versus pretending to be there and like trying to like stay afloat. I could no longer do that anymore. And it was in this moment where I was like, I'm changing, and all the things that are meant to be for me will stay with me and or come to me. I am no longer holding myself back anymore. So I almost felt like I was like unpeeling these layers of me that I didn't know was a cover up. And that included, I mean, I was a previous makeup artist. And so like I even started taking off makeup. I mean, my clothes, like I was a fashionista. I started like even like going so basic in my life because I needed to hear and see everything that I was and that I wasn't. It was so powerful in the sense that all the answers I had were in me already. I just had to go deeper. And being able to take those first steps to give myself that awareness and to have an action plan really changed my whole life. And this is partly why this podcast has been started. It was one of the things that I have been thinking about and talking about, but I thought about it for solely because I was like, gosh, he's so smart. He has so much insight. Like he needs a podcast. That I bought him a podcast system in 2020. But I didn't realize I was talking to myself. And so here I am telling you all the things and being vulnerable and saying it out loud that I had these struggles. Even though I look fine on the outside, there was this inner battle that I could not shake up. And the reason why I couldn't do it because I wasn't honest with myself. I was taking myself to the one person that has been pulling me, which was my husband, Sully. I'm not Sully and I will never be Sully. That's one thing I've learned out of this entire thing. And it has helped me tremendously to find who I was and to be that person. And because now I get to be the best partner to him. So that was having the awareness and accepting who I was and meeting myself there. That was very important for me because that was the part that allowed me to make those changes. So this season of my life in the end of 2022 into the 2023, I went on a road that was a lonely road. But I learned a lot. And so on the next episode, I will go deeper into that about what that felt like and what challenges I took on besides the one I just named off. And I can say that question that scared me and then I didn't know what Sully was talking about. It's my first time really asking for clarity. And I begin to ask for clarity because there were a lot of things in my life I didn't really know much about. And I just got myself into it and was always afraid to like use my voice. And 3 years later, and I can't even tell you guys how proud I am of the work that I've done to find that voice, to find the potential in me, and to also recognize in other people, such as my children. They are mirrors of me, and to be able to walk through that path with them and being the age that I am and doing it alongside my kids really has been very powerful because it has allowed me to not just talk the talk, but I walk the walk. And it made me realize that when someone really loves and cares about you, sometimes they ask you questions that are so hard to process. But when we're able to process those questions and find our own answers, you start to realize that they always saw something in you before you saw it. And how beautiful to be able to still be in a relationship where I was given another opportunity to really find myself, all while he sat back and supported me. And sometimes the support was in silence because I found that when I came back from my doing and from my learning and understanding, I would come back and tell him what I discovered. And he would say, I've been trying to tell you, girl. I've been trying to tell you. And it's like, it's a true saying where they say, like, you really don't hear the things you're not looking to learn. And I'll say this wrong, but like, and Sully always says it, and I'm really bad at these things, but like, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. I think that's right. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. Yes. So the teacher will appear when the student is ready. That was me. And so this podcast, this season 1, is going to be my journey, what I discovered. And I thought it was just going to be finding myself. But what I didn't realize, it was going to take me back to generations before me. And so I cannot wait to share all of the things that I've discovered and explored. It's going to be a fun one. I want you to think about this question too. Is there someone that you rely so much on? Have you thought about what would you do without that person? It's a tough one, but I think it's one that will open you up in ways that you didn't know was inside of you. You're going to find so much strength that you didn't know even existed within you. So I want you to think about that. If you journal, that's something I do too. It has helped me really see my patterns as I journal and see the reflection. I think that if we stop and pause to really slow down to kind of hear ourselves a little bit more, I think that we can find all the answers of the challenges we sometimes have in life. So if you want to share your answer to me, please, you can DM me. You can email me at b.mombaccam@gmail.com. I would love to hear your answer. But thank you so much for letting me be vulnerable and sharing this, because I hope that you can see yourself in my stories. And it doesn't have to be all of it, but maybe it's a little bit of it. Or maybe you know someone that is a lot like me and maybe they're stuck. I hope that my story allows people to see that you can look fine on the outside, but really struggle on the inside. And that the first step in being able to make some changes is just being able to have that awareness and looking at ourselves in the mirror and say, I no longer want to be this. I don't want to be stuck. So thank you so much for listening to episode 2. And I look forward to bringing you episode 3 when I go a little bit deeper in the challenges that I took on. Thank you. Bye.